I'm Myra.
And I'm Tressa. We are fancy marketing people with Union, a Wyoming-based telecommunication company. Yes, Wyoming really does exist. We proudly serve the Rocky Mountain region.
On this podcast, we will feature businesses, organizations, nonprofits, and influential people from Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming.
Our mission is to highlight those who inspire their communities daily.
We believe this makes us truly authentic because a journey of 1,000 miles always begins with a single step.
3, 2, 1. Golf clap.
Did you say golf clap?
I can come up with all sorts of stuff.
I like it.
Have you ever heard that? Golf clap?
The golf clap.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's like the number one thing Blake's looking forward to. Our actual nice golf courses.
Yeah, living in North Carolina.
Yeah,
you have plenty of those.
Nice, lush, beautiful golf courses.
He can golf more than 3 months a year.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And he was looking at membership fees already. So he's plotting it out.
Well, those are probably a little bit more than what we pay here.
Actually, one of them wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's less because maybe there's more attendees. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But yeah, one wasn't too bad. But when you get like to the more country club-esque golf course associations, I don't even know what you call it. Those membership fees are pretty out of this world.
So Blake, your husband golfs, but you really don't. Do you think you're going to take it up?
No. I've asked for clubs multiple times, and I've yet to see any appear for me.
Okay.
And I think that's a sign.
Well, why don't you go get your own?
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So Blake is a wonderful teacher. And he actually taught one of my sister-in-laws, one of his brother's wife. I about said wives because that sounds kind of creepy, but one of
his brother's wife.
Yeah, he actually taught her how to golf. And one time she was like, "Oh, Blake's such the best golf teacher ever, and he taught me how to golf." I'm like, "Yeah, unless you're his wife, because then when your husband tries to teach you how to do something, it's usually not as successful."
I agree.
If you don't know who they are, yeah.
So
it doesn't work out well.
Well, you could always get lessons.
Yeah, I'm more of the Happy Gilmore of golf.
Yeah.
Less of the actual long range wonderful shots and more of the anger cussing non-quiet person.
Throwing your club.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me.
I think anybody who's ever golfed has wanted to do that if they haven't actually done it.
Yeah. Yeah, Blake's so good at it, it's almost kind of bad to go with him because he's not. If he was like average,
right,
it wouldn't be so bad. But he's so competitive and good at everything that it's just not worth it. Yeah. So I just ride in the golf cart.
That's enjoyable.
Yeah, Nola likes going.
Yeah. I mean, I'm average. I'll golf with you.
Yeah.
I have like those few shots every game where I'm like, comeback shot. Yeah. I can golf.
Yeah, it's not me. But I don't know. He's excited about it. Yeah. He just keeps looking up golf courses. And it's really funny because he keeps looking up like places to live. And he's like, well, if you zoom out, you can see on a map where the location is. And I'm like, you do realize that I grew up in this, like, I know these places. I don't need to zoom out and look at a map to know where I'm going. Like, I know where I'm going.
Like you've forgotten it.
Yeah, like, oh, I just magically forgot the geographical region, I'm like, I know where all of this is at in, like, close vicinity of each other. There's no guessing here for me.
Yeah, would you, 21 years, and then you moved out?
Yeah.
How old? Yeah, 21
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I lived there for forever, and I don't know. I don't know directions. I know landmarks. So I definitely know where I'm going.
Yeah. It's funny. It's the same thing here. Right?
Yeah.
Like people say Owen Street or this, and I'm like, who lives there? That's what I know. I know places and where people live. I don't know the street names here.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because when I bought my house, you knew the house by the people who originally lived there. And then most people knew the people that lived there before I bought it. And now I wonder if people will be like, oh, that's Myra's house. I don't know. I doubt it. But yeah, when those people have lived there forever, that's kind of like what names the area, the house, the street.
Exactly.
Yeah. Small town stuff.
Small town stuff.
It's the same everywhere,
Yeah.
no matter what kind of small town.
So Lenore, your hometown, you're going back to, like, it's bigger than the valley, though.
Yeah.
Like, small town.
It is. I think I looked up the population of Lenore, and it's 18,000 people.
Oh, okay.
But I think the county is like 30-some thousand or more. I'm not sure. It might be 80,000. I'm not
30
quite
to
sure.
80.
30 to 80. There's a
somewhere there.
range
Yeah.
in between. Yeah. I was looking it up because I don't really think about Lenore as like a city. Like, because I think about the rural areas that make up the county, if that makes sense. Like here, we're so widespread in one county that you think of it more of like population centers. And like Gamewell is the town that I grew up in, and the city of Lenore is only 10 minutes away. So it's difficult for me to think about Lenore as just like a pocket, because really all of the surrounding areas to me make up.
Do they all
Lenore.
kind of interconnect? Do you even know you're leaving?
No,
them?
you
Okay.
not really.
So that, okay.
No.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and so you just kind of flow from one end to the other.
Into the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's the cool part about it, because you have so much land that you're exiting a town.
Yeah,
and
you're
got
some
you're like,
time.
well, shoot, okay, I hope I use
see
the
some
bathroom.
sagebrush.
Yeah. Like, did I use the bathroom? Did I get gas? You've got a lot of time.
Do I have snacks?
Yeah.
For the next few hours?
Yeah, in between where you're going and there, and you have no idea.
Yeah.
You're like, meet, and there might be like a little sign. It's like, welcome to Hudson.
Yeah.
If
you're paying attention.
If you're paying attention. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just boop, boop, boop. You just keep going. But I remember when, so it's like just this week was our 7-year anniversary. And so we got married 7 years ago. And the next morning, I got on a U-Haul. Well, I didn't drive the U-Haul. I got on a plane and flew out to Wyoming, and all my belongings, and like the next day after my wedding. So it's like, yay, Myra's married. Goodbye. We'll see you never, Goodbye, friends and family. And I remember when I was planning on moving here, we first lived in Kimmer. And so I would come visit Kimmer, which was a culture shock for me. I was like, what in the heck am I doing? And it was snowing. And it was one of the worst winters that had happened to that date. And the berms in the road were like 12 feet tall. I mean, probably really not, but I mean, it was close. Yeah. And I'm like, what is this? And so that was alarming. But I remember crying because Blake told me, yeah, Walmart's 45 minutes away.
Walmart.
And I'm like, what? Repeat that. Can we back up again? And I'm like, well, how do you go to the pharmacy? Or where do you buy groceries? Or how do you do I just was going crazy. And he's like, there's a grocery store, there's a pharmacy, and I'm like, what is this place? And every time I would tell people that, we have to go 45 minutes to Walmart, they would be like, what in the heck is wrong with you? And like, we shop at Costco, but I have to go 2 hours or more into Utah just to go to Costco.
Right.
And now it's just become so like second nature.
Yeah,
we're like, man, we're just going to Utah for the day. And my whole family's like, you drive 2 hours to go to a grocery. I'm like, you have no idea. If you don't do it, you ain't getting it.
Yeah,
so
it's so true.
You might as well just embrace it.
The things you do for love.
Yeah. That was crazy. But it's been fun. It's been real fun.
Yeah.
We're still together. We're still alive.
Yeah. You're making it.
Yeah. So, good. Yeah. Cool. Well, our host, I'm the host and you're the host, but surprise, Cindy, you get to host. We're just going to walk out and go home and go to bed. Just kidding. But our guest is Dr. Cindy Jones. Cindy is the Assistant Dean for Student Success for the College of Engineering and Physical Science at the University of Wyoming. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
How are you?
We are wonderful.
Great.
How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on.
Yeah, so we've known Cindy. I've known her for a couple years. One of our partnerships with Cindy has been Engineers Week. And we love that partnership. And do you mind talking about Engineers Week, Cindy?
Sure. So I've been in this role for about 5 years, and when I took it on, I was handed off. Engineers Week was handed off to me, and it is one of our biggest K-12 outreach projects here at the College of Engineering and Physical Sciences. And the goal of Engineers Week, which is a nationwide and really a worldwide event that occurs the third week of every February, was started by the organization Discover E. And the goal of Engineers Week in each state is to raise awareness for K-12 students about the fields in engineering and the possibilities there. I know that when I was a child, I grew up in a small town in McAllen, Texas, and I had no idea what an engineer was. And to be honest, I didn't even really understand what an engineer was until I moved to Wyoming 5 years ago and interviewed at this college. And over my 5 years here, I have learned a lot about what engineers do. And they are really the ones that, in my opinion, make our world a much safer and better place. So the goal of Engineers Week in Wyoming is, of course, to visit every possible elementary school that we can and teach children what engineers do and why that field is so important. And in Wyoming, we focus all of our attention for Engineers Week in the third grade, and we do that for a lot of different reasons, which I'm happy to explain if you'd like. But before I came on, it was decided to focus Engineers Week in third grade classrooms in Wyoming.
Can you tell us, you said this is nationwide or even worldwide that people do this. Is it done
Correct.
at the same time throughout the
Correct.
entire world? Okay.
Yes. So Engineers Week is always that third week of February, and that is true across the country.
I had no idea.
Yeah, no,
That's really
I love
interesting.
what you're saying because I'm with you, Cindy. I thought about it the other day. I'm like, I do not remember knowing anyone growing up that was an engineer.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And so
Me neither.
when I remember when my husband and I were courting or whatever, I Googled like, what the heck is an engineer?
What does this guy do?
What does this guy do? And then I saw a salary and I'm like, hey, I'm just kidding. But,
Right, exactly.
Worth a shot.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. But no, I had no idea. I truly I don't remember anyone that did this, that talked about it, or I had no idea. And then I met my husband, and then I moved here, and I've gotten to know a lot of engineers and what they do. And then we work for a telecom that is
Right.
very heavily, engineers make our world go around here. And
Yes.
it has totally opened my eyes and changed my mind. And I think it's really cool. So I have a new appreciation for engineers as well. So I really love that you said that, because I thought I was the only hillbilly. I'm thinking, do we know?
No,
anyone?
you're not. I remember being in school, and engineers were the
Train
guys
conductors.
that drove the train,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
and
yes.
So they were the ones that blew the whistle and that we waved at, and so it was very enlightening to move here and learn what engineers do and why that field is so important.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the event that we had this year, and like what were some of the key things that you did throughout the state of Wyoming?
So Engineers Week in Wyoming 100% depends on everybody else besides me. I simply coordinated and make partnerships happen. And then, of course, I develop the lessons and activities, the engineering design challenges, and mail all of those out to the campuses so that the teachers and the engineers have all the materials they need to facilitate the engineering design challenge. But in Wyoming, it is actually my only outreach initiative that I run that is 100% dependent on volunteers. And so in Wyoming, I have over 150 engineers, professional engineers, that volunteer to do this each year. And then I pair them up with third grade teachers in the same region. We can't do, as you were talking about earlier, I can't do areas really, because we're so widespread. I mean, I can't do cities alone. We're so widespread, and there are some regions of Wyoming that don't have as many engineers as others, especially way out east. And so some of these engineers travel 2 or 3 hours each way to get to the campus to facilitate the engineering design process that I've created and sent out to teachers. So this year I have a goal every year to increase the number of third graders that we reach. And so I have my numbers here in 2021, which of course was not the best year because of COVID, but we reached 2,423 third graders in Wyoming, and those numbers go up pretty steadily. And this year we reached 4,306 Wyoming third graders, which is about a little over 64% of all third graders in Wyoming. And that does not just include public school third graders. I have quite a few virtual academies that join us, homeschool groups that join us, and specialized STEM classes that join us as well.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah. I love that it's more than just the public schools,
right?
That all of the kids are getting the exposure and the information.
Yeah, there's.
I even travel sometimes around. Like this year, I went to Casper with a few of my engineering student ambassadors, and we facilitated engineering design challenges at the Science Zone in Casper on Thursday of Engineers Week, and they invite all of the public in Casper to come in and partake of the challenges.
That's so cool. Yeah. So my brother actually teaches third grade, and so I kind of have an idea of third graders, relatively more than like I probably should. I don't know. So I'm curious. You said earlier that you do target third graders. And you said there's a reason. Could you talk a little bit about maybe why?
So my background is all in education, and we as educators, we do a lot of research on how to engage students of different age levels. And we have found that 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds are at that age, one, their fine motor skills are developed enough to handle the little materials that I send out. And then 2, they are the most, and those of you that are parents, you probably know this, they're the ones that are the most willing to be, and I'm going to put this in quotes, even though that's so, but anyway, they're the ones that are so willing to be the most wrong when they do something and say, oh, that didn't work, let me try something else, which is what engineering is all about. Engineering is, we call it the engineering design process. It's very circular, and within that circle you go back and forth from design, build, try it out. If it doesn't work, then you go back to design. And it's one of the few fields that you are allowed to be wrong in, because it's expected that it is iterative and that you are going to go back and back and back until you get it just right. And we have found that the older we get in age, in K-12, 4th grade, even 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, the second they do it wrong, I'm done. And they get very frustrated and don't want to try again. Third graders still, for the most part, of course, this is generalized, right, for the age, but for the most part, third graders are the ones that go, oh, I'm going to try something else because that didn't work. Whereas if we were to go to a higher grade level, they might be very frustrated. So I have 4 different activities from which teachers can choose, and all of them are designed so that students have to keep redesigning until they get it just right. And that can be very frustrating for an older child. And then the last reason is, I'm sending 150 engineers into classrooms, not educators. And they're the most people-pleasing age group. At that age, they really want adults to like them. They want to make adults proud of them. They want to show off how smart they are and how hard they try. And so it's just we feel it is the best age to send all of these engineers who have not had all the schooling in how to educate, and how to engage children. It's the safest place to send them.
So really, we all need to keep that third grader inside
mentality,
us alive,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Right? Because it's like, if at first you don't succeed, try again, right? That's how innovation happens. That's how we create. That's really interesting that psychological part goes into this,
Yeah.
of where they're at there. So
there's a lot of thought behind that too. In school, teachers there's so much on teachers' plates as far as the curriculum they have to cover and get across, and then those students are tested. Did they get that curriculum? And so education it's a very stressful environment, not only for the kids but for the teachers as well. There's a lot on there are a lot of expectations for both. And I think that, just my opinion, that the older we get, students are doing more tests and quizzes, right? And those are graded by a teacher, handed back, and you really don't get a chance to go back and fix that, right? It's one and done. You're right or you're wrong. And the older you go in grade levels, that becomes even more the case. Sometimes you get to retest or take a requiz, but for the most part, you get one shot. And so until third grade, those aren't as prevalent as they are at the older grades. So, that's maybe one reason why third graders are a little more open to being wrong. I'm sure there's tons of research as to why that is. There's a social and emotional development that we all go through. Adolescence is really a time where, and if you've got teenagers, this, where they're right, and when they're not right, they're angry.
Yeah.
And
also for toddlers, I was about to say, also for my almost 5-year-old, yeah, when she's wrong, she gets upset, yeah.
And that's true, right? With the younger ones, I just had a group of kindergartners here today at the university, and we were rotating through 4 different physics stations. And I always tell my student ambassadors, okay, it's kindergarten. There will be tears.
Yeah.
And they all go, what? And I said, it's not going to be anything you do or say, but 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, they get so, and if one little thing doesn't go right, there are tears, and we had tears, and it's just, you expect that. So, I definitely don't think I would send professional engineers into kindergarten classes without a little more training.
Yeah, I could understand that. Sometimes engineers have a hard time not speaking in an engineering way. So
right.
Yeah, that's too funny. Maybe I should give my husband grace, because then if he's got the mentality that it's okay to be wrong, and then he can go back and fix it and be wrong again, maybe
Exactly.
I
yeah, you can go home tonight and be like, Dr. Cindy Jones explained you to me. I love you so much more now.
I expect a thank you note from him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you can thank this lady. Yeah, she's got it figured out. So thank you. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm the perfectionist over here, and there's only one right way. So, yeah.
So how do you go about... Go ahead, Cindy.
Oh, I was going to say, am I allowed to brag on you guys and tell you that I send out over 4,000 kits for each of these activities, and every single bit of materials I put in those kits, and it's things like popsicle sticks and glue and lifesavers and all kinds of things to make the 4 different activities, and that Union Telephone pays for every single penny of that, and that we absolutely could not do it without you guys.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Yeah, we love being a part of this.
Yeah, it's one of our... we have a lot of core sponsorships, and this is always one that, without a doubt and without any question, we're going to always participate in, because one, the reach of just going into the schools, and truly there's not a lot of STEM that's happening in a lot of the Wyoming schools that I've noticed, or it's starting to evolve, it's starting to grow. But we really love that it is targeted for third graders, because coming from a company founded by engineers, around engineers, the leadership are mostly engineers. They know how important it is to them, and it shaped their lives, and they want to give back. And so this is like one of the, I don't even want to say easy is a terrible word, but one of the best ways to really make an impact and to give back to our communities and provide that knowledge to our youth about opportunities that are out there, that it doesn't just have to be a doctor or a policeman or a firefighter or ballerina or whatever. These are the other opportunities that are there for you. And for me, being in when I was younger, I didn't really know what I wanted to do for sure. You know, I knew I liked to talk, and I knew I was creative, and I knew I pulled a lot of tags in school, but I made really great grades. So I'm like, well, what can I do with that? You know? And I really didn't know what marketing was until I became an adult and I went to college, and I truly kind of understood, okay, this is my path that I really want to go for. So introducing engineering to children when they're younger, they have something to think about. Like maybe it's, you know, you're planting a seed, and maybe that kid thinks in a couple years, oh, I remember that thing I did, and that was engineering, and this is now giving me an idea of what I could do or who I could be, instead of waiting until they're 18 and confused and don't know what they want to do, and they might change again. Who knows? But you're planting that seed to kind of give an idea of what it is out there, you know.
Yeah, and like letting them know the diversity letting them know the diversity of engineering, like you talked about. Like there's not just one type of engineer, right? There's multiple types of engineer, and letting everybody feel inclusive in that. Because I know one of the things that we've tried to do is really empower women to also look into STEM, right? Because it's always been more of a male-dominated industry. Are you seeing changes in that now?
So we are hopeful. You know, in this college, we only have 18% female representation in our college, and so that is another reason why a lot of my outreach efforts are focused in the younger grades. Research does tell us that by 4th or 5th grade, students have decided, I'm good at math or I'm not, or I'm good at science or I'm not. And so then as they grow up, those future study and career paths tend to go one way or the other, because they have decided by 4th or 5th grade that they are good or not at math and science. And so going in earlier and allowing them to experience success in math and science is one way that we are hopeful to shift that, right? To let the girls see you are good. You are a good mathematician or scientist or engineer, and to allow them to grow up thinking, I'm good at that. So that is a path I could go down. Our associate dean here, he's a civil engineer, and he talks about his daughter who is starting college next year. In the 3rd grade, third or fourth grade, they were talking about something. He took her to Japan to see some earthquake, after an earthquake, and to look at buildings, to assess which buildings did well and which did not. And she was the first one to notice that the wooden ones crumbled, but the brick ones were all still standing. And he said, wow, that's a really good observation. Do you want to be an engineer like Dad when you grow up? And she said, oh no. And he said, well, why not? And she said, girls can't be engineers. And so that is the kind of thing, that perception, it's rampant. And we're really trying hard to change that.
Yeah. My daughter, she's 5, like I was saying, and she hasn't started kindergarten yet. But she actually says all the time, she's like, I want to be like Dad. She calls it construction, but that's just the way she can frame it. But she's very interested in what Blake does, and I'm fine with it, because I'm like, go for it. And she comes to my office more, and she goes to events with me way more than she sees what Blake does. But she is very much like, I want to be like Dad. So,
that's great.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, you got the right guy, so
got a great mentor.
Yeah. You got a great one. So
right.
yeah. So yeah, I see that. I mean, I want to And as a mother of a daughter, I want to encourage her that you don't have to fit in a box, that there are other opportunities out there. So if she wants to go for it and she's happy with it, then be my guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
My daughter is graduating from university in May, and she is the only female. She's an ag, but in Texas, but in her university, in that graduating cohort, she's the only female left. All the other females that started with her, for various reasons, have left and changed majors. And so and it's been a struggle for her. I'm not going to lie. The last 2 years have been a struggle as the only female in that graduating cohort. And she has been successful because of so many people on that campus supporting her. And so that is another thing that we try to do here in the College of Engineering, is have a lot of support for our female students, because there aren't very many of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Congratulations to your daughter.
Thanks.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Well, we're getting close to the end. I have we have two final questions for you. One is, I just want to know, like, looking ahead for your goals and aspirations regarding Engineer Week.
So, like I said, we're at 64% of Wyoming's third graders that we have reached, and since I've gotten here, my goal has been 75% of Wyoming's third graders, and then of course, eventually, we would love 100%. I'm one of those people that, you set a goal, and even if it's not possible to attain it, you still set it, because there's always room to grow and higher up to get.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
Let us know when we hit that.
Yeah.
We want to celebrate.
We'll celebrate with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And then our last question, Cindy, we ask all of our guests before we close, what makes you authentic, or how do you stay authentic?
Oh, I am the oddball in this college because, like I said, I don't have an engineering degree. All of my degrees are in education, and I feel very strongly that it is it's a calling, and they hired me here to start as their K-14 outreach project coordinator, and since then they've given me different jobs as I've been here, but I've always continued to been able to keep the K-12 outreach, because as an educator, I think that I'm very effective at that, knowing teachers and knowing students. And anybody that knows me, any friend of mine or colleague, will say that first and foremost, I am an educator above anything else, except of course being a wife and mother. But in my profession, I am the assistant dean now for student success, but it will always go back to that, being an educator, and that educator in me is what guides all of my authentic choices and decisions and actions.
I love that. That's awesome.
That's very awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Cindy. This has been a wonderful conversation, and we really appreciate you joining us today.
Yes, thank you, Cindy.
I cannot tell you guys how much your support it's the only reason this is possible, and that this initiative is so successful in Wyoming. So thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. We're happy to partner with you. Thank you, Cindy.
Of course.
Thank you. Well, until next time.
Stay authentic.